Hey, what's going on, everyone? Got a 2004 Chevy Tahoe in the garage today, and I'm going to be replacing the front bearing slash hub assembly on it. Customer said his ABS light came on. I scanned some codes and it was showing the left front sensor was bad. He was also having some humming noises coming in the front end. So I'll go ahead and get this jacked up and I'll show you what's going on. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a jack underneath the control arm here. And then right behind the driver's side wheel here, locate your frame rail. And I'm going to go ahead and put a jack stand under there, but I'm still going to keep my jack underneath the control arm. Just like that. So with that jacked up, you can go ahead and check for play. As you can see on this one, there's a lot of play. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that wheel bearing hub assembly. So real quick, I was going to show you what codes it was bringing up for that ABS light being on. And it looks like 3 of them are all related to that front left where the bearing's bad. So I think with that bearing being so bad, it was throwing off the sensor in there. So luckily the new hub assembly comes with a brand new sensor. So hopefully that'll solve these 3 codes. And then as far as this 4th one, I think that is due to the customer had pulled the ABS relay to try and reset it. So I think that's why that code's showing up. So hopefully this will solve all these ABS codes. So next we're going to go ahead and remove our wheel and tire. It's going to be a 7/8, and then you got these little plastic covers over them. Just be careful when you're taking them off. And then go ahead and grab a 36mm, and we'll remove this axle nut here. Next I'll go ahead and turn my wheel so I have better access to the caliper bolts back here. Now looking on the back side of the brake caliper, you got 2 bolts. You got one right here and then one up here. Those are both going to be 18mm, so let's go ahead and pull those off. Then you can go ahead and remove your whole caliper, brakes, everything. Should just slide off of here. Just like that, and then just set it up here to keep it out of the way. Just be careful of that brake line here. And then you can go ahead and remove your brake rotor. Next you want to grab a 15mm. We're going to pull this bolt off, and then same thing on the top, and then there's another one on the other side. So this top one's harder to get to because of the ball joint being in the way, so you can't get a socket on it, so you're gonna have to use a wrench and try and break that free. That one I'm just gonna kind of leave there like that because the hub still will release with that sitting like that. You can go ahead and turn your wheel, and then we'll go ahead and pull out that 15mm right there. Then go ahead and straighten out your wheel. Next we'll go ahead and remove this ABS line on the steering knuckle here. Just grab a pair of pliers and we're going to squeeze on those tabs. And as you're squeezing, pull out. Just like that. Then just kind of move this brake caliper out of the way here. Kind of like that. And then we'll go ahead and unplug this one here. Just pop that off here. Just like that. Now let's see if we can get this hub off of here. Get your ABS line fed out of here. And this should just pull off of here. May have to use a hammer though. Kind of like that. As you can see, that was seized on there pretty good. And then you should just be able to pull out of there like that. Take that off. And there's our old hub. And you can even hear it, how bad it was. So before I put the new hub in there, I'm going to go ahead and clean all this rust and everything off, just so it sits in there a little better. Then go ahead and grab your new hub assembly. This is the Moog 515036. Then just pull it out, make sure it's same as your old one there. You got your 6 lugs. And then if you flip it over, you got your 3 holes. And then of course, as you can see, like I said, this one comes with a new ABS sensor. But before you stick it on, go ahead and grab your shield. And this part goes towards the sensor here. So just feed your sensor through it. And it's going to go on there like that. And then I'm just going to put a little grease on these splines just to help lubricate it a little bit, sliding it on these splines here. Then go ahead and grab your hub. And we'll stick that on there. And your sensor goes towards the front of the car. Pretty much like that. And then pretty much like removal, we'll go ahead and stick our bolts in and start tightening them up. Next you can grab your rotor, stick your rotor back on there. And then just grab one of your wheel lug nuts. Throw that on there just to hold that rotor in place. And then you grab your caliper and your caliper bracket. And then try and slide that back on. Kind of like that. Grab your 2 caliper bolts. Now we can go ahead and plug this back in. Go ahead and stick that back through. And then go ahead and take it. You can plug it back in up here. And then snap this back in. And then of course these other 2 here. Just like that. Next I'll go ahead and grab our washer and our axle nut here. Stick that on. And I'll tighten these. I'm not gonna go too tight, and that way I can torque it when the wheels are on the ground, and we'll do the final torque. Now we can go ahead and stick our wheel back on. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and pop out this center cap so we can torque that axle nut once it's on the ground. But before we lower it, I'm going to go ahead and check and make sure everything's good now. So I'll do the same thing. As you can see, we got no more play. So we should be good. So with that lowered, I'm going to go ahead and tighten that axle nut. And that's going to be 177 foot-pounds. And then your lug nut torque is going to be 140 foot-pounds. Okay, so that's going to do it for the video. I'm going to take this for a test drive, see if that humming noise is gone now, and also clear them ABS codes, and hopefully those won't come back now. Again, this was a 2004 Chevy Tahoe, and I went ahead and replaced the driver front hub and wheel bearing assembly. And if you haven't already, subscribed to the channel, check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.